there, Chad here. Thanks for joining me. Let's play some NewsTower, and we are at the Sounding Rocket, and we are in the middle of a reorganization of the tower. In the previous episode, we took care of the first 4 floors. There are a couple of things that I need to touch on just to clean it up some. Some of this temperature stuff just really isn't going to be fixable, but I didn't put anything over here. We're going to want to try to make that look a little better. I think I'm still on my stash, so this should work. And that's going to drop temperature tremendously, as will this, to the point that sound becomes the bigger issue. Again, we don't have to make these perfect. There won't be a lot of time spent in here. There will be some, but it should be minimal. And then I don't know if these little fans can help too. Looks like it helps over here. Doing as much as we can for the health and safety of our workers. We're going to move that over because I'll put some wall fans over here then. Ceiling fans, I don't know. These look more like ceiling fans. My grandpa had an old fan like this that was effectively open so you could get to the blades. It had like 5 little wires as a cover, and it was something that was like on a wall, and at some point that broke, so he bolted it to a board and it became a floor lamp. And so, we're like 4 years old crawling around this little fan. I'm sorry, I said floor lamp, floor fan. And we're crawling around this thing. This is way more protected than the fan my grandfather had. Basically, those 4 wires that make the cross, that's what was the protection on the outside of his fans. Very 1970s. Wouldn't expect to see that today. Somebody probably called DFS, I guess. That'd be too bad. All right. Myself, all my cousins, we have all our fingers and toes, so where we're going to go with the rest of this? Well, I need to kind of departmentalize the groups of workers, and an easy one is the product chain for photography and engraving. There's 3 stations that are involved in that. There's the dark room. There is the repro camera, and then the chemical engraver. Those 3 are kind of point to point. Either you start with a photo and you give it to the dark room to develop, and then the photo comes here, and then output from this goes to here, and then output from here goes to an assembler. So a couple of things to consider. We're going to want like a tube to get to wherever we put our assemblers, so we kind of need to figure that out. We also can just have these folks close together. We could use tubes for all those transfers as well, which maybe isn't the worst idea. They take up a very small amount of space, but if you're starting to have like 2 ins and 2 outs, well, you wouldn't have 2 outs necessarily, but 2 ins and 1 out, you've got 3 tubes you got to put next to everybody. That can kind of become a little bit, that could start to be a lot, right? That could start to drive some logistics that need to happen. But we can expect that the illustrator needs to go to the repro camera. If we have a cartographer, I believe it will be the same thing. And one way you can tell is if you click here, you can see what their output is, an empty draft illustration. Then you can click on what is next, and you'll see the empty photo or an empty draft graphic. Well, draft graphic, that's what a draft illustration is. I would assume that a cartographer has something that's similar, draft map, or something like that, that probably is also in the category of draft graphic. So that's kind of how you can see how the pieces fit together. And then you have halftone graphic here that goes into the chemical engraver as a halftone graphic and comes out as an engraved graphic. Then an engraved graphic will go to, that's a typesetter. There's an assembler. That's a text slug. That is an engraved graphic. So that's its input or an ad. That's how we know what are coming to folks. The assembler, when done, I don't see where they deliver it anywhere. It's just simply done. It sits on their desk until you assemble your paper. So that's kind of a plus. They're the end of the chain, and you don't seem to have to manage what happens after that. Your reporters, of course, they produce slugs, but they walk them in as papers, and they'll come up and deliver those to an available typesetter. The photographer will take it to the dark room, etc. So that's why we're going to end up with some tubes here for different departments. We'll have one that goes to wherever we end up with the text editing desk. We'll have one for the, I don't think the graphic editing desk. So the graphic editor is a little bit one of those, it takes the negative photo or the draft graphic, and then it creates the photo or the draft graphic that ends up going here, photo, draft graphic. So they're the in-between from the producer to the chemical engraver. So these two we want to keep close to each other. These two we want to keep close to each other. This one doesn't have to be immediately there. So output from this can be shipped by tube or by hand to this desk. And then the same is true for the text editor. The text editor takes in reports or ads, and then they output reports or ads, and that's what goes to the typesetter. The typesetter gets a report or an ad, and they output text slug or an ad slug, and then that's what goes again to the assembler. So as you can see, we need more assemblers. Probably need 3 assemblers. We currently have 2 typesetters, and that doesn't seem to be a huge slowdown, but we probably want to be prepared for at least one more typesetter. The typesetter's job doesn't take as long as the assembler, or does take as long, takes longer than the assemblers if I recall, but now I don't think I'd want to bet on that right now. I might have that backwards. So we'll want to figure out which one we'd probably want one more of in order to better supply our entire tower. We're going to eventually want more photographers. We're going to eventually want another illustrator, a cartographer. Then we also have all the other desks, the obituary desk, the sports report desk. Those are all creating text things, and they're going to be outputting those. And so it continues is what really comes down to. Now, we haven't spent a whole lot of money with this renovation. This is going to cost us $30,000. So I'm holding off if I can. $20,000 should be more than enough buffer for whatever we need to have coming next. But I simply don't know for sure. So I want to kind of hold off if I can. And let's figure out, we're going to eventually want another telegrapher. I know that. I'm thinking maybe the easy thing to do is to move them up to the top floor. That seems to always be my MO. Move the telegraphers to the top because they can be out of the way and they're self-sufficient. Do they need paper though? They do need paper. So we have to have a way for them to receive paper. And what I'm thinking is, if we put them on the top, we have this column here where we have the dumbwaiter intending to go once we can afford it. And so we can expect that paper will come out here, be easily delivered to them. They'll be able to disperse it amongst themselves. I don't think reporters need paper, and I don't think any of these others do either. They probably need some trash removal. But other than that, we're okay. So I think the first thing we do, I'm going to find a plant to kind of mark where I think the dumbwaiter ends up going. That's been working well for me. Guess we're going to end up going to Comfort. There we go. We want a large plant. And I guess I had never really thought of this, but I can just use the up arrow. And it should stay in that same column. And that's where the dumbwaiter is going to go. So now we just avoid that. We'll go ahead and put one here. We'll leave a little space, and we'll put 2 next to each other. These are the 3 that we have right now. We want to add a 4th. Obviously, the dumbwaiter becomes a rather difficult thing to move around if we need to. I don't think we can get one of these in there. Can we? No. It's one space too small. But that's okay. We can find something like a coat rack or something else to put in there if we really needed to. So I think we'll be fine right there. They want some light. How dare they? I don't have any lights right now. So we're going to go ahead and buy them a big light. I like these better anyway. I think that'll get it done. So we now have telegraphy moved. They do make a lot of sound. We're going to try to help them out with that. Put these above their desks. like they were before, and then we're going to move the clock. And now we kind of have it exactly how it was before for them. I don't know if they're going to have a cooling issue or not, but we have plenty of room for fans. And then we probably want to put a wall up just so they have their sound contained a little bit more. And we must have walls, right? I used them all. I don't want this wall. I want a wall with door, and I don't see one. Okay, well, that's good. That means I'm using my stashed stuff pretty well. I'm happy about that. And we'll leave a little, well, we want to leave space for another desk, and then maybe a little more space in case anything else needs to go in there. I don't think it would be the worst thing to put another bathroom up here. And if we build another floor, that is absolutely what will happen. A bathroom will go up there. But for now, I think that'll probably be okay. Now, we moved the sales desk and the lawyer up here just to get them out of the way for now. That's not going to be their permanent residence. We're clearing this floor out. I think that is okay. I'm not 100% sure on how that needs to kind of fit together just yet. And I'm wondering if maybe I move photography down a floor, all the chemical engraving in that, although it makes sense to maybe leave this one alone because it's functioning correctly. And maybe what we do, tighten it up a little bit. I have them separate it because this room has, I think, does this generate heat, smell? I can't remember exactly. Definitely generates one of those things. It is smell for the chemical one. Yep, that's why we have tile in there, of course. And then the repro camera is sound, and that's why we have the acoustic paneling in there. So we don't want it wallless. We want to try to separate them as best we can, but we can move it over a little bit. Is this in her catchment? It is. That's great. Maybe give her a little bit better lighting. Yeah, the light just gets sucked up by these, the darker wallpapers and that. We need lighting down here. I got a couple of places that needs lights, don't I? Let's see if we put this here. This is more for like when maintenance comes in, and we are not leaving this here, by the way. That was temporary. He won't want to work there with these printers, although we could wall it off, and at least for now, eventually this will be printers, but for now maybe that isn't the worst idea. But let's give her some better lighting. And we really don't need to worry too much about, did it not take? What did I do? There we go. We don't really have to worry much about power right now. We should have plenty of room for that stuff as we move along. And I'm trying to think of why I couldn't move. Is the footprint of that? Why couldn't that move over one more? It doesn't like it there. I'm not sure why though. Is there something up there? Well, let's not worry about it too much. I feel like maybe there's an artifact or something because it doesn't make a lot of sense. It should move over one more. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. This will be fine. This will be fine. We can put a plant there or something if we need to. Get this back over there. So she's all set. Using that wider light does limit our space there, but that's okay. And then my thought is, darkroom stuff comes here, right? The photo negative. They generate a photo negative. The negative comes here, and then that goes to the darkroom. Okay, I almost messed that up. So I just want to get her out of the way for a minute. And this is a file cabinet, and it benefits the editor, okay, which I guess that makes sense. The board benefits the editor. This is more than anything because this is a loud process. I think it helps with sound outside the door, although as we can see, it's not really making a big, well, it has to be somewhere, I guess. So put it there. Probably want to give her a clock. So we'll leave this here for now. Dark room though. Well, yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. We can put her cabinet here, her dark roominess. Here, we'll have to make it dark. She gets a light. She gets smell repellent. There we go. We have a dark room. I think I was using tile for the dark room because this generates smell. We'll go ahead and do that. There it is. Now, the interesting piece there, though, is the text editor isn't on that floor with them. We can put her over here, and then at least it's an easy walk if she has to do it, but we can put tubes in. We'll put a tube in to get it to move over to here somehow. And I think we're going to want to put a fan in. And as I recall, we have plenty of those stashed. The little ones anyway. One here. Oh, we're starting to use them. That should work. What's her heartbreak right now? Uncomfortable. Yeah, hopefully that'll change here really quickly. We'll see. Okay, we are kind of cramming things in here. I don't really love that. I kind of like to have it look professional, but we don't always have complete control over that, do we? Tower needs to be one space wider. It is amazing to me how often games, board games, computer games, handle that angst of you need just one more space in order to get something done. Or yeah, it's amazing to me. I play a board game where you are always $1 or $2 short of buying the next thing you need, and it's utterly amazing when that happens. It's so frequent, and for a while it's easy to think, well, it's just luck of the draw, right? But clearly thought went into it. Somebody thought through, this is how this math needs to work, and I'm kind of amazed by that. Well, moving on though, we need to figure out where we put the graphic editing desk. There's a popcorn machine here now. I'm kind of thinking, do I want to put the editors like on the same floor together? I'm mixed on that thought because there's reasons to maybe do that and there's reasons not to do it. They probably share things like issue board. They probably both can use that, right? Yeah, they can. So you're down here and this one up here. Money's not really a problem though, and wall space isn't a problem for them much. I mean, this is big. It's the size of their desk. So, you know, some overlap there could be helpful. But I'm trying to decide, is there other reasons things would come, and could we just use tubes? And I think the answer to that is yes, and I think maybe I want to just try that. So kind of talking through my logic here, thanks for listening, but I think what I want to do is we'll try using just tubes to address getting stuff to and from the text editor and the graphic editor. Eventually, we might need more of them anyway, so they're probably going to need their own wing, just not today. And now I'm trying to decide where I want to do that. So if I put assemblers and text typesetters all along this floor, we would also want to put the illustrator in there. He's a start point, right? The photographer is effectively a start point. That's the graphics desk. Here's the photographer. The photographer is really a reporter, though. They don't have to be in the chain. They go out and do their job and deliver it in here, and they do it just like a report comes in. So they work more like a reporter than like a production desk. Whereas the illustrator is more like a production desk. He has an output. These guys all have outputs, right? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to move assemblage to here. Move the tray over, move this one over. There's our assemblers for now. They're the end of the line. I can maybe put another one in here if I really, really need to. We have typesetters, right? So again, removing the tubes for now, although they're going to be super helpful. This is our text editor. We're going to end up putting her with the other editor. And we want to put them nearby. And I'm thinking what I want to do is either put them here or here. And I'm just trying to figure out where I put typesetters in the meantime. So typesetters and the sales desk have an output that goes to the text editor. The lawyer doesn't have an output. He's a final destination. He has lawsuits to come in and paper. Technically, the lawyer might be a good fit for near the dumbwaiter there, right? Maybe we put him there. Leave space. We could put him inside that room for now. And when we're ready for another telegrapher, which I am not, I kind of like the pace of the stories coming in. I know some people are saying, oh, you can get more stories with more of them. I do realize that. I'm kind of happy with the pace I'm seeing right now, though. It's kind of comfortable for where I'm planning on playing right now. Also, and I have said this more than once, I don't tend to be a min-maxer. I'm not trying to get the high score. I play to relax more than anything. I think a lot of people are like that. Why do you play games? This is an honest question. Why do you play games? Why don't you leave a comment? Tell me what drives you to play any particular game. Not necessarily this one. And I know there's going to be different answers for different types of games. I play a football game that is like strategic coaching. I play that for entirely different reasons that I play this one. And I do get that. But if you want to put down a reason or two that you play games, go ahead and add that to the chat. Maybe somebody else will think of something that might be good for you. One of the reasons I wanted to do a channel like this was to share games that interest me because, you know, you play one game like, well, I played EVE Online for a very long time, right? This has nothing to do with EVE Online, but for whatever reason, this checks some boxes for me like EVE Online did. And there's probably someone in the world that's very much the same way, never heard of NewsTower, and would really benefit from playing the game. I had the same realization with like Kerbal Space Program. There's a lot of folks that play that and are also into Grand Theft Auto. That's a really weird combination, right? But it's out there. So anyway, too much about me for today. Let's just move on. I'm just, in full disclosure, I'm stalling because I can't quite decide how I want to do this. So that's what you're really getting to see here, folks. We have our assemblers in where they're going to go, though. I probably could stand to put their bonus equipment stuff. So it's an up-down there because currently it is affecting this guy, but it's not affecting him. So we're going to put it there. This is for them. Yeah. Typesetters. Typesetters are crazy. All right, we're going to do that. We have a slug tray somewhere. Did I stow it? I must have stowed it. Stashed it. Stow it, stash it. Ooh, I don't see it. Well, there's got to be another one out here. I'm just not seeing it right now. Oh, it's way up here. There we go. Drop that. Oh, he can't because of the issue board. Oh, that doesn't affect him. That's crime board. That's not even the one I thought it was. Okay, that's his. Okay, that makes sense. And then I can't because there's a trash can there, but we do want a trash can. Just need to move it over a little. Water cooler is in the way. Sorry, pal, you're going to have to go get your water elsewhere. Okay, there we go. Now they're more lined up with where I want them. And this, as you can see, does not split well for the two of them. It's not quite wide enough if we have that tray there. So they're both going to need their own planner. And that's okay. I got one right here. Give to him. Move that clock back. There's a little plant here. That's what that is. Trash. So this looks like a good place for another assembler. There's their board. That's the one I wanted. We need to move the clock yet again. That works though. Can I get it right there? I can. We can even put that portrait there. Give them some prestige points. The hanging plant does the same. As you can see, it's got a nice little bump to it. We'll go ahead and leave that there for now. Lighting here is not awesome. Yeah, I think I'm really going to want to do that. Move that clock, move the plant, get that calendar somewhere where it's helpful for everybody. There we go. Okay, that's better. I think that's better. So now we have assemblers here, prepared to add a third. We have typesetters here. No plans for a third one just yet, but that will happen. Now, the one thing I'm realizing is I don't have any space for tubes on this side, but that's okay. They can walk over to here, and it's a heck of a lot shorter walk to do that than it would be, you know, to come down floors and things like that. They tend to take these directly to these guys anyway. So I think I'm going to put some tubes in the middle, but we also want to use the editor. The editor feeds them, so we're going to want tubes from the editor desks, wherever those end up being. And nothing's going to be level with the fourth floor. We know that. This is all pretty locked in at this point, up to here with the exception of that guy. Everything is locked in here. So this is room for growth. As of right now, we can maybe put the illustrator and photographer. Well, the photographer doesn't have to be tied to anything specific. Cartographer might be a good add here. That's right. We want to get these guys next to each other, and that's good. I'm trying to decide if adding a stall to the bathroom makes sense here. I've got this bathroom up here. Probably could do it, but it would end up being double. Let's not worry about that just yet today. We'll deal with that another time. So we're going to move the editors to here, I think. Is this the other editor? Text editing, wastebasket. Maybe we put them over here. Crime board. Everybody has a crime board but this guy. So there. Okay. We just gave somebody a point. And then we'll move this. Silly thinking going on here, but I'm realizing, at least for now, I probably have more text editing that has to get done than graphic editing. Not that it should really make a difference here. Let's get that out of here. We'll add some lights. That'll work. Issue board for both of them. They already have calendars. We can stow this one. Or whatever that was. I think it was a calendar. Okay, so the reason I'm doing it this way is that's where tubes are going to go. We're going to put tubes right here in between their desks, and they'll have ins and outs. And I might actually need to move them over here as well. And so that was the other thing I was trying to decide. How many spaces would I need? How many can I get away with? Looks like I can maybe even get another space out of there and not lose their bonus. Yeah, good. Okay, well that's max width for now. And we put tubes in here. There'll be ins and outs. Tubes from the first floor can bring either item to them. And from what I could tell is they were using the same tubes for all the different things that needed to go to a particular floor. It didn't seem to segment text from graphics, and so that's important. We'll try to plan for some space to allow that if it needs to happen, but it may not need to actually happen. So the ad desk, this is a good one too, where it just is a start point. It doesn't need a partner. In fact, maybe the ad desk is a good one to put here for now until we do get a cartographer or something. I think we'll move the popcorn machine down a floor. Some socialization stuff here, different foods. Sales desk person. Yeah, this is feeling a lot better. don't love where I have maintenance right now. I need to figure out where that can go that might be a little better. And maybe it isn't the worst thing to put some walls here and just give him a little room. I don't know if I can get a wall in there. I might be able to. Maybe give him a room down here, because a lot of the times what he's fixing is the printers, right? He's fixing the printers a lot. He's fixing the water cooler a lot. That might make some sense. I can get a wall there. We can bring him down here. Sound is probably what he's going to have the most issues with. Granted, there's heat issues too, but we can probably address that. So we can change this to heat instead of sound, and that, well, that might not be great actually. We'll change his to heat. But he's broken-hearted, although I'm not sure, is that him? That is Evelyn. Evelyn is our maintenance person, I believe. Oops, I believe. No, it is not. Ernest is our maintenance person. What does Evelyn do? Evelyn, what are your skills? Evelyn is our mover. Yeah, that's not what I meant to do. Let's grab Evelyn. This is Evelyn's place of work. Feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, I think everybody's feeling uncomfortable right now as we try to figure out where everything needs to go. So temperature's dealt with here. Let's make sure there's nothing else. We do want to eventually add a sound. Okay, yeah. So maybe we do change this back to sound then. And now temperature becomes an issue there. I mean, it makes sense, right? I was hoping we maybe found the right balance there, but apparently we have not. So we can do this. I think we still had a fan or two stashed. We do. And we can do that. That'll help a lot. I really think I want to just put in a big light though. So we'll stow that one. These rooms just feel so dark to me. There we go. All right, well, I'm happy with that for now. We won't be expanding the paper for at least a few months, I don't think. Well, heck, I'm not going to have the influence to do it. I want to get the dumbwaiter. There's a couple of other things we need to look at. Wouldn't mind starting to get some of those desks for specialties, like sports scores and things like that. So that's going to be fun. We have our editor. So now it's pneumatic tubes. Well, we know that at least one is going to come from down there to up here, and we could probably fix this wallpaper real quick. Oh, what the heck? Let's put in pink stripes. Where did I move him to? He's over here. Okay, so his stuff, editor stuff. We're going to need 2 filing cabinets. I think the pneumatic tube will fit above that. We'll need to check. If not, we might want to tighten up the space, and one of them's going to have to walk just a few feet. But we will know momentarily. Okay. It will not fit above that. So, okay. It's consideration. We'll need to decide what we want to do there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have space for 4 tubes that could go over here if I move that desk. And so I think that's what we'll do. So now they get the bonus of the the filing cabinet, and this as well. We have a trash can in case they need it, although I don't see where it really makes a big difference. And then we'll put in the tubes. Here come the tubes. All right. So we'll start here, and this one's just going to be to right there. Boom. One down. And I think both graphics and text will come there to go to their desks. Then we're going to put another one in. Aha. This is going to need to move. We're going to want to put it here because we want all these folks to have access to it. And that, oh, we could maybe squeeze it into some of those rooms if we needed to. That's good to know, but I think for now we're going to put it right here. And it'll go to here. That works for me. This was the sales desk, right? Yep. and then the illustrator. All this stuff comes to over here. He doesn't actually have far to go with his. Just to double check though, empty draft illustration, that is not what comes in here, is it? It is. Okay, so his work will come up to here. They'll send it back down to here. So do we want to just use that tube? I think we probably could. We could put another one to save them a few feet. We'll start with that. Let's see how that works. I'm trying to think if there's any other areas I'm not considering just yet. He gets lawsuits in. Those will need to come up somehow, but we'll worry about that at another time. So we have temperature issues on this floor. Looks like we have a few on this one as well. That should be easily compatible with some fans. Put one here. That was the last of our big fans. Do we have a little one still? We do have a little one still. That's the last of our fans. So now we'll go to comfort. That'll take care of that. Not a lot we're going to be able to do for over here. I guess we could try putting in one more big fan. Just moves it around a little bit. Doesn't really solve it. Can I move that light over one? I can. Okay, well that's better than it was. This will get cleaned up. That won't be a big problem. We have sound issue here. Oh, look at that. Gets rid of two problems at once. That's interesting. Temperature's still an issue, but let's play that one by ear, and then we have noise and temperature here, and that's not unusual. I don't know that this would help. Yeah, it does a little. Dumbwaiter's going to go there though eventually, so I'm not sure. Well, we can do that. The thing is he's not going to be walking over here all that often. The maintenance guy is going to have to, but he's going to have to anyway. So I think we can get by with that, probably making a good difference. Here we have some inconsistency on, yeah, we can address these with wallpapers. Temperature and sound, we'll worry about, well, let's see. Doesn't get rid of either one really, so we'll worry about temperature. Put in some fans again. Sound is their big nemesis right now here. Okay, that works. Honestly, there won't be a lot of people using this elevator except to get to the bathroom, so I'm not too terribly concerned about it. One other thing, oh, the wallpaper. We need to fix the wallpaper there. We'll just go with standard for now. Standard here. Put in pink stripes somewhere, yeah. We can put in Victorian to make things nicer. In fact, we might want to do that here. This is kind of our lobby. Could stand to put a wall here. Not there though. We want to move, let's move water over one. We need to move this light. Then we'll put a wall in. But we're going to adjust the lighting here. Because like I have said 5 times now, I really don't like this lighting the way it is. Too dark, too dark. Whoops, I missed it. Grab that guy, there we go. Let's drive him all the way up here. And then backfill with another one of these. want to have your lobby nice and bright, right? You don't want people getting hurt coming into your building. And then we have room for a few more tubes that I haven't quite figured out where I want to go with yet, because right now it feels like those are going to work. Getting it up to these desks. Their desk drops it to here. Oh, we want, yeah, so that is a step here. We need to drop some down to here. I knew I'd forgotten one. Almost done with this though, I think. So we're going to want a tube here. And then we're going to want, and that was the last one that we'd already bought. That's okay. We're going to want another one down to these guys. I think that's right. I think that's got what we want. That way they don't have to move around too much. Not perfect, but better. We got a lot of space to work with still. I might be able to spread out a little more, come up with more creative ways to kind of deal with some of these things. I didn't really realize I'd have this much. Want to add one of these guys. I want to probably add one of these guys. So they may end up moving over here or something. This space isn't even used right now. I do know one other thing I need to check on, and that is where we ended up. Well, we were okay with where we put this. It's next to a bathroom. It'll get that one clean. It's an elevator stop from this one. This one's a little further off, but that's okay. This might be a situation where rearranging makes the difference. Here we go. That fixes that problem. All right, I'm pretty pleased if I do say so myself. This will probably work. We'll get on to the next month in the next episode and see how functional it is. It may be complete train wreck. I do not know, if I'm being honest. So I do appreciate you joining me on this journey. Maybe you saw something here you'd like to try, or something you'd like to try a little differently and make it more efficient, and that is fantastic. But until next time, I wish you fair travels.